Hello, we are Hyungwon Lee and Tanner Solentich. We are here to presentation for one research forest disturbance effects on snow and water yield in interior British Columbia. This is written by Rita Winkler, David Spittlehouse, Sarah Boone, and Barbara Simonik. They examined a long-term study at Mason Lake and Upper Penticton Creek in southern British Columbia. They studied natural disturbances and logging disturbances and how those disturbances affect the creek. In southern interior BC, stream flow is usually made from mid-high elevation snowpack, and this area is influenced by mountain beetle and wildfires. This forest has many coniferous trees that contributes to snow accumulation.
Okay, so there was two site areas that were studied, Mason Creek and the Upper Penticton Creek, and their elevations were at the Upper Penticton Creek reached higher due to its watershed, and their average annual temperatures were quite similar. So the data collected was temperature, humidity, snow surface temperature, and these were collected both at Mason Creek and the Upper Penticton Creek. But at Mason Creek, 32 stations were arranged 10 to 15 meters spaced to collect data from the creek, and at the Upper Penticton Creek, recorders were placed at the outlet of each watershed. Mason Creek is mostly rolling terrain, and this area is dominated by lodgepole pine and Eagleman spruce. And there's lots of dead stems that are still standing from forest fires and mountain pine beetle kill. It's 50 kilometers northwest of Kamloops. And the Upper Penticton Creek is located 26 kilometers northwest of Penticton. And this area is underlined by a coarse grained granite rock covered by glacial till and glacial fluvial sand and gravel. The watershed was clear cut. Monitoring periods lasted 3 to 5 years after final logging for streams. In a standing forest area that has to do with snowmelt and stream flow is you will get more shade in this area compared to a clear cut due to the thick forest canopy on top. So you won't get as much snow landing on the forest floor, but it'll take longer to melt overall due to the shade. And in a burnt forest area, you have old stems that help for wind protection for snow, but they don't give the ground much coverage. And then in a clear-cut forest area, you'll have an open plain basically, and wind is a big factor. So you can have, if you have a high winded area and a clear cut, you can get all the snow blown off, and that can have some major effects on how the stream will flow.
Conclusion: managing disturbance tree is important because this natural disturbance can delay snow accumulation and melt. However, logging or removing disturbance leads to earlier snow melt and runoff. It increased the water yield in April and decreased June and July. Therefore, clear cutting in an extensive area can result in more flood risk, negative effect on aquatic habitat, and water supplies for irrigation. When there's a plan to cut trees, even the forest was naturally disturbed, we need to consider long-term effects on managing streams.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.